When I got to China, the story was different. So I had to quit the school. That was one thing. I was part of 3 people they arrested. I paid the agent cash, $2,500 cash. Some people even cried for me. I didn't pass. I was working with Microsoft. A week or two, I got admission. No, there wasn't any funding. There wasn't. So that was why the idea wasn't to start to come and suffer. Yeah, bro. I have experience of struggles, but when I came here, it was a different struggle.
Was
Sometimes you'll be in
bitter.
your room. Yeah, you'll be in your room. You think you like
Did you cry?
no solution. You're going to Indiana State University, and I said, yeah. Then I started fighting for the GA.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, that was the first question. Then we have to call immigration and then terminate
I-20.
your I-20, $10 an hour.
That cannot.
I was afraid to go to the office anyway. Some even told me I shouldn't waste my time.
What will you consider your biggest mistake in the US? I first want to know why you decided to go to China. So many countries in the world. What is it about China that attracted you? And when did you go to China?
Yeah, so that was in 2018.
Okay.
So before that, I was working as a teacher in Ghana.
Okay.
And my friend, my colleague that I completed the university with, he was in China. And then he actually gave him my documents, my certificates and everything. But I had forgotten that I've given him my details like that. So one time he called me and then he was like, bro, you got an admission. And I was like, which admission? And that's that at that time too, my job in Ghana was something else. Like things were not moving. So I decided, okay, let me give it a try. I just applied for the school and then unfortunately that school too, I didn't get any scholarship.
School in
No
China.
scholarship. Yeah, the
Okay.
school in China. So I decided, okay, let me just go because uh,
Wow.
initially the fee that I was supposed to pay was it was up to as at that time it was like 7,500 Ghana cedis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the fee that I was supposed to pay, it was yeah 7,500. That was what was on my JW2. In China they don't call it I-20,
JW2.
they call it
Okay.
JW2.
Okay.
So I took the JW2, applied for visa. Long story short, I got to China. When I got to China, the story was different. It was it was very different. Like the school said, aside the fee that is on the JW2 that I'm
Yeah.
supposed to pay, I have to pay accommodation. I have to pay all a lot of stuff.
Wow.
In addition, will be like as a today will be like 15,000 Ghana cedis.
Charlie.
And trust me, going to China to it was a good Samaritan. God bless him, Mr. Koku. He bought my ticket for me.
Hmm.
Like I didn't ask him. He just voluntarily
Wow.
bought my ticket for me. So it was I think till now I'm very grateful to him.
Hmm.
But getting there too was a big challenge. When I got there, it was a big challenge. So I had to quit the school. That was one thing. I had to
You
quit
quit
my,
while in
my
China?
master's. Yes.
Ah.
I had to put a halt on my degree
Okay.
for now.
Which
And
year
then
was this? Which year was
that
this?
was 2018.
Okay, 2018, same year. Okay.
Yeah, 2018. So the school had to, they wanted to cancel my whatever, everything, and then
Yeah.
I should come back to Ghana. So I had to act smart. So there was one guy called Frank in China,
Hmm.
in Wuhan, Hubei, and he told me that, oh, bro, there's a way. We can find a way. So
Wow.
we went to one school, and then the school was happy to accept me for 3 months. So within that 3 months, in China, as a student, you don't work. There's no chance. There's nothing like 20 hours or whatever.
Wow,
So you don't work
man.
at all. So because of my situation, I I managed to find a place to do something, and then gathered some funds
You mean
and
something
used to
illegal?
pay. Yeah, it was illegal. And trust me, uh, I was part of 3 people they arrested for illegal job.
You were
And
arrested in China.
yeah, but it wasn't arrested like putting in the cells. But then they caught us, and then they were like, "Don't do this. If you know that, you know that when students
Wow.
are caught in this situation, we are going to jail them, or we are going to
Mm,
send them outside the country." And then I was like, "Yeah, I know." And they said, "Okay, you guys can go for now. Don't do that again." And that was it. But as at that time, I had gathered some funds, and I used that money to pay for my for a
school.
different school.
Okay.
Yeah, a different school. That was a scholarship, but it was through an agent, so you had to pay.
Mm,
I paid the agent cash, $2,500 cash
wow.
for scholarship, and the scholarship too was partial.
Wow.
So yeah, so with that, I was able to complete my 3 years master's program
What did you study?
in in China. I studied computer science.
Why was it 3 years?
So the masters in China, most of them that I know are 2 years, but mine, uh, some of them too are 3 years. Mine, I started March 3rd, 2019,
Mm,
and then I completed 2022 June.
okay.
So that was the margin. And so coming to how I I got my job and everything.
Yeah. So you
Well,
completed school in 2022. You got a job, right?
yeah,
Okay.
2022. I didn't get a job immediately,
Okay.
like, yeah, but I was applying for jobs continuously, because after school in China, those in China will bear me witness that if you don't, it's you have just two choices. Like, it's either you apply for PhD or something to stay and then continue whatever that you're doing,
Mm,
or you go back home.
mm,
If you want to do any sort of work visa or whatever, you have to do it with a company's work visa, and then business or whatever that you have to do in China to do something. If only you want to do something.
mm,
If you want to go in the teaching sector, that's a whole different sector. So you have to go through some
procedures.
documentation, yeah,
Mm,
procedure or something to be an English teacher, and that's also not easy.
wow.
So uh, a good Samaritan. This guy was actually a blessing. Like, he was applying for himself for this Microsoft job thing,
Mm,
but he didn't actually like it, because he was like, I'm leaving China. He's from Bangladesh.
oh,
He's
okay.
he said he's leaving
Wow.
China soon. So even for him to apply for this job, he didn't like it. It was through someone that he got a job. So he gave me the name of the company. It wasn't just Microsoft. It was through a vendor. So I took the name of the company and then searched on eChina cities. That's a website in China, and then applied the job through eChina cities.
Mm,
And then I got an email. They called me for an interview. I passed the interview, the first one, the second one, I passed it. And then they were like, how fast can you move to Shanghai? That's sorry. That job is in Shanghai. The Microsoft job is in Shanghai. So I told them I'm ready to move. As you can see,
yeah.
I was under pressure. So because my visa was expiring like in a margin of 4 months. like it had already expired, and then they renewed it for 3 months. So yeah, it was almost expiring. So I told them I'm ready to move, and they said, okay, you can come over. I got there too. It was wahala. It was wahala because to join the Microsoft team, you have to go through training and then CP. The CP is like checkpoint. The checkpoint is like final exam, like after the training, and then they will examine you on the training, what you did, and then in the
Wow.
training. And if you fail, you have 3 attempts. If you
Mm.
fail, you are going back home. They are not going to sponsor you or whatever. You just go back home. It was a challenge. That one is a whole story. And people who know this one, and people who are going to see this video are even going to laugh. It's like those people I know who are going to see this video. I know a lot of comments are coming, will be coming, because some people even cried for me because
Really?
it
Huh.
was, yeah, it was hell. It was a big challenge. Trust me, it's a whole episode.
So you had three attempts, right?
Yeah,
And did you fail the first two?
I failed all of them,
You failed all the three.
all of them. Now this is what happened.
Whoo, man, you suffered in life. Oh. Hey.
So this is
Wow.
what happened.
Huh.
Uh, we were we were supposed to go in a batch, like in 3 batches. So I was part of the second batch, and then when uh, I I got there as the second batch, the first batch had already begun, right? They
Mm.
had already started their training and everything. So this leader somehow said, "I am." He just started having issues with me, the leader of uh, the one who was training us.
Yeah.
So he
You didn't do anything
said,
wrong?
"I didn't do anything, bro.
Mm.
I till now I'm even trying to find out what I really did."
Yeah.
Actually, what happened was when I first got to Shanghai, uh, I did not wasn't part of the first group, as I said. So I
Mm.
had like a week to move around Shanghai and in the
Mm.
company and then what's up. So I was like, okay, let me just visit. I have a cousin in Shanghai. I visited my cousin, and then he was like, "Oh, you're finally in Shanghai. Then let's go to the city. Let's go and look around." And
Mm.
then we passed through places, to the club, to a lot of places. So I was thinking that probably somebody saw me, and then the person
Reported
reported
you.
or something.
Mm.
But that is my business. It's
Okay.
personal,
Yeah.
so I wouldn't know
Yeah.
if he was used based on that to
Yeah.
act or whatever.
Mm.
So all of these people that I went with
Mm.
in the group, the first batch and the second batch were doing SharePoint online, and then myself, just me, was supposed to do uh, SharePoint online. They were doing Exchange online. They were doing Exchange online, and just me, I was supposed to do SharePoint online.
Okay.
And they had gone through their interviews for like the first time, the second time, like almost all of them were moving on to the floor to start working.
Mm.
But myself, I went to the first interview, the first CP checkpoint, I failed. The second checkpoint, I failed. Honestly, me failing the checkpoint wasn't
Your
because I
fault.
didn't know.
Mm.
It wasn't my fault. It's like the guy had personal reasons, like
Mm.
personal reasons. He'll just be in the interview whilst the one who is interviewing me will be like, "What's this?" I'll tell him. He said, then that guy will be like, Why don't you say this? Why are you saying this? So he's like, he's not allowing the interview to flow, that
Yeah.
kind of thing. And then he'll always interrupt in the interview. And after the interview, I remember the last interview for me to justify me whether I qualify or not.
Mm.
The interviewer told me I got 6/10, which means I've passed. This this guy who is the leader who was
Yeah.
part of the interview said, "No, okay, I know what to do. I know what to do." That's what he said, and
So
he
that guy
took
is a
me to,
Chinese, right?
no, he's a Bangladesh guy.
Ah, wow.
Yeah.
That's ironical given the fact that the job was kind of in a way given to you by somebody from Bangladesh, and then you have somebody from Bangladesh trying to,
Yes.
you know, take the job from you.
Yes.
Wow. Huh.
Yes. Yes. And it was sad because we were all foreigners in China.
Yeah.
We are all foreigners, and then we are here to make ends meet.
Yeah.
So if you try to do something like that, it's like
Yeah.
you
It's
are
not cool.
trying to, yeah, it wasn't cool. And then it went to the overall boss's his office, and then the way the guy was talking, bro. I had never seen someone be so hard on me like this. He was like,
uh,
"No, you did this, you did that," like saying a whole lot of things, and then he was really giving it to me in the office. No, he doesn't qualify. He doesn't do this, and I was like, no. If you tell me this, then I don't think that's the right way. The one who did the interview said it's okay. You said I got 3/10 in front of the overall boss. He said I got 3/10 just to say something. To that point, I felt like this guy really wants me out of the company to that point. So I wasn't smiling at him anymore. I wasn't giving him
yeah.
that face, friendly face anymore. So even if I needed something, the boss gave me a long story short, the boss gave me chance to try again.
So
And
you had a fourth attempt
fourth attempt,
and then you
which
passed.
which wasn't common.
Okay.
I That one too, I didn't pass. He was there too. Now, finally, they wanted to kick me out of the company. That was the ironic, ironic thing. They wanted to kick me out of the company, and then they were like, they brought me release letter. I was like, I'm not signing this letter. I'm not. So give me some time. Let me talk to some people. They said, no, you don't have some time. Bring your card. They just took my card, and then they were like driving me out of the
Building.
place. And I remember I had this roommate. He has been there for like 2 years before I got there. So in the company we have a company's apartment. So we were in the same room. So he was like, I called him when all these were happening, and then he was like, no, wait for me. So he came, and then he was like, this is not right. If this is your story, then it's not right. Let's go. Then we went to the HR. Could you believe that all that they were doing, the HR never knew any of these. So the HR was like, what's your name? Then I told him my name, and then he was like, are you sure you're part of this company? I said, yeah. He said, your name is not in the system. So this leader had not even registered my name in the system
Wow.
since I came.
Man, that's
since since I came. So they were like, if your name is not here, then we cannot, there's nothing to resign. So because if your name was there, it would have been easier to resign, like let you resign from the company. But there's nothing to, you cannot punch in, you cannot sign in, there's no email in your name. So Then we will leave the main HR lady to decide. Fortunately for me, this main HR too is a good friend of my roommate, the one I went with. And then he was like, when she came, she was like, "What do you want?" Like she was playing with my roommate, and then my roommates told her the story, and then she was like, "I will give you this last chance. If you blow this last chance, it's gonna be on you, and you are leaving." So this last chance was with a different team. Now they brought uh, like a pamphlet, like a book like this. It was all about uh, Microsoft products, and then Microsoft Teams, all the Microsoft products
Yeah.
actually. And I was to read this 10 minutes, under 10 minutes, and do an instant interview that same time. 10 minutes.
Ah, that's crazy.
Yeah, and actually, the leader of that team is a Chinese, so I was confident. Like I had confidence that at least he's
Yeah,
a Chinese.
you'll be
He's
fair
going to
enough.
be fair.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's going to be fair. That the like if you couldn't do it, you couldn't do it. So I sat down in front of him. I sat down in front of him and studied. Just went through the book like that, just like in the cartoons, like you flip books and then like that. So after 10 minutes, he said, "We are about. Let's do the interview. Don't be nervous. Just relax and let's do the interview. If it doesn't go well, I'll tell you. If it goes well, I'll tell you." And bro, I was on heat. So it's like the book is like whilst I'm reading and trying to capture some words in the book, I was also using my eyes to try to picture, like try to extract some
Man.
pictures and everything. So it's like all my senses are open, like I'm using all the senses. So we started the interview, and then the first question he asked me, and I remember the first question was about Office 365, obviously.
Mm.
I told him, and then he said, "So, what's my understanding?" And with that, I told him, and then he asked me about ODT. I told him about ODT, everything, and the steps, and how to even to do ODT for five or more PCs, and how to even to customize uh, when you want to do your own customization with the ODT and everything. So after even we were not even done with the interview. We were not even through with the interview. It was like 15 minutes. He was like, "Are you sure you've not done this before?" I was like, "No, I just read the book." He
Wow.
said, "So how did you feel your previous interview?" So that one brought the whole story of what happened in my former team. And he was like, "Okay, don't worry. I'm not going to tell the boss this. Else, if he tells the boss that, the other team, the leader is going to be in trouble. They will have to question him and that.
Yeah.
So, what he's going to do is he's going to give the results to the HR manager, and then they will take it from there." So I was there, and then they sent me an email. I didn't even get to the office, and then they sent me an email that uh, I've been accepted, and then in the meeting.
So that was your
So
fifth attempt.
that was my fifth attempt.
Man, that's
That was
life.
my fifth attempt.
That's life. So what I want to know is when you were having the training, were they paying you some money, to survive on?
Yes, yes. Actually, that company, uh, they they do pay you, like even though it's not going to be just like you started working,
Yeah,
but
not like full-time
it's
employee.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's good. It's good. Actually,
The reason
it's
I ask
better.
this is the reason I ask this
Mm,
is because you were not in the system. So then how were they able to pay you?
yes, yes. So how they were not paying me. So actually, after that interview, and then after the email they sent me, the HR manager sent me a follow-up email to bring all my details, my bank, whatever, everything. So I had it also, everything in at the office. So I had to give it to them. They did, like, within the margin of 1 week, they had already enrolled me and everything. They had enrolled me, filled in my bank, what every information, my bank information, my uh, passport information. They started working on my visa, like in because I had like 2 weeks for my visa to expire, so they had to speed up.
But
I had to even.
what about
Mhm.
before you passed the exam? Were they paying you anything?
No,
Oh, okay,
before I
that
passed
one.
the exam,
Okay,
they would do anything.
okay.
And that one was even, it was in the margin of 1 month. But when they enrolled me, they paid that amount. They
Mm,
paid that time that
mm.
I
So what about
like the
your
time.
former boss? Was he sacked? Were you, or
No,
if he was okay, did you work with him at some point?
no, no.
Okay,
I
which
didn't
means
work with him.
your path never crossed.
No, no,
Ah,
no, no,
okay.
no. We
Okay.
never even we met because it's a big office. We are in the same office. And I remember in my new team, I had another new team because I wanted to like do something extra. I in my
Wow.
other new team, I got best performance for like 3 consecutive times. Best
Wow.
performance,
Wow.
and he was there when they were awarding me like the third time.
Oh
And
wow.
after the award, I remember he saw me. He said, "Oh, and if I knew that you were going to be like this, why wouldn't I invite you to my team?" And but I have to laugh over it and then
Yeah.
just
Yeah. So
and that
how
was it.
long did you work at Microsoft?
Yeah, so with Microsoft, like 2 years and 2 months,
Mm,
and
okay.
so 2 years and two
And
months.
why did you decide to leave Microsoft?
Yeah, so whilst I was working with Microsoft, I was like, honestly, uh, I compared to my age and what I've achieved, I was kind of I was feeling like I've not achieved much, even though I was working with Microsoft. And then trust me, working with Microsoft in China, it's not like it's different from working with Microsoft in the States. Even though you are the same customer service and everything, but it's different. So I decided,
In terms
okay,
of
let me,
pay,
in terms of salary, in terms of
benefits, right?
oh yeah, the benefits, everything.
Mm,
Like, except that in China, things are a bit cheaper. So life, your living conditions and
cheaper.
everything
Mm,
is not, yeah, as compared to your salary.
okay.
Yeah. But then I really wanted to advance as we grow. The expenses are becoming,
Yeah.
and you marry someday, so you just shouldn't think of just yourself.
Future.
So
Mm,
let me just,
try this out.
actually the decision was there, but I didn't know how to go forward with that. And it was one of my friends, Richard. Richard, he had already applied schools and had gotten admissions, like 3 or 4 admissions. But he's so brilliant. That guy,
Mm,
yeah, we were working in the same company. But he didn't want to go to the States because he felt like the school fees and everything and all that, he had to wait and get some funds in China before he moves. So I was like jokingly, like, we are just joking, and I said, "Oh, bro, then apply for any of the schools for me." So he was like, "No, you have to check the school before I apply for you."
yeah.
So I checked one school, and I saw that, oh, this school, it's like their fees is moderate. It's okay. At least if I get scholarship, I can, or assistantship, I can just
Yeah.
be able to come to the States and study. So he fast forward, he applied, and within a margin of a week or two, I got admission.
Mm.
I got
But
the
you didn't
admission.
get any funding, right?
No, no, there wasn't any funding. There wasn't. So that was why I was pushing for the scholarship thing, because I didn't want to come again to the States and struggle.
Yeah.
Honestly, I suffered in China.
Mm.
I really suffered in China.
So you applied to
There's
only one school, right?
yeah, yeah. I applied to, yes, just this school. The other one, I didn't continue, so uh, I will not count it as
Yeah. I
uh,
mean, you didn't apply.
application.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
you had admission without scholarship, even though you had a
yeah,
job at Microsoft, which I mean it was paying you in a way good enough to
of
survive and
course,
all of that. So you
of course.
decided to come to the US, leaving your job behind, and then come and
Yes,
suffer again. Why
yes.
why
So
did you decide to do that? Like, you know,
yes.
why didn't you
Actually,
wait?
the
Yeah.
idea wasn't to stop to come and suffer.
Mm,
That was why I was fighting for the scholarship in the
mm,
GA, because I didn't actually get too many people to advise me on
realities of life in the
the
US.
life in the US. In China, you will suffer, but it's not as difficult as
Yeah.
in the States.
Mm,
There's a vast difference. In China, even though the student is not working, there are so many ways to go about it to survive. Yeah. Except you are in China and then you understand this. When you're
mm,
outside, you will not understand. Yeah.
yeah.
But when you're in US, there's nothing to understand, bro.
Yeah.
It's like
It's hard. Really
it's
hard.
hard.
Really hard.
Like you are facing it for real.
People don't know this. When you tell them, they don't understand. They think it's like every other country, but no, here
Yeah,
it's very tough.
yeah, bro. I have experience of struggles, but when I came here, it was a different struggle.
Was
Sometimes you'll be in
brutal.
your room. Yeah, you'll be in your room. You think you like
Did you cry?
no solution.
Did you cry?
Well,
I
you
mean,
not
you
you
are a
not
man, so don't be shy. Everybody is human. We all cry. So
yeah, yeah. But
once in a while,
I
yeah,
cried. I didn't cry, but I felt so sad. Even
yeah,
though for me, I've been in, as I said, I've been in so many
yeah,
situations that had forced me
yeah,
to stand on my toes. But I didn't cry, but I felt so sad because it's like to some point I was beginning to feel like my whole life is a struggle.
yeah,
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 but that wasn't it. It's like the planning and everything wasn't in place.
yeah,
So it's like I had to do something to.
yeah. So
So that was
before we get into the struggles and all of that, you went for the visa interview. You had an
yes,
uncle who promised to sponsor you because you were going to study
exactly,
something that was going to help him, right? And then
exactly.
you went for the visa interview. I mean, when you are going with an uncle without any scholarship, master,
Yeah.
it's not easy like that. But for some reasons,
Yes.
you went and then your visa was approved. Was it only your only attempt or it was your second attempt?
So I had already applied for tourist visa, B1, B2 visa twice,
Mm,
and I failed.
you were denied
Like
again.
the first one, yeah, the first one was after the interview, the lady was like, have you been to your back home before? Have you been to your country before?" I said no. She said, I would advise that you go back home and come back, and that was
Mm,
it. And then she said, yeah, 214B, I'm not
yeah,
blah blah. And the second one too, he didn't even let me talk. He didn't even let me talk. And then he was like, after blah blah blah, B1 two one B. I said, okay,
wow.
let me just relax. So this the student F1 visa application was the third one. Honestly, they asked me,
Did you travel before the F1 visa?
yes, 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 yes. Actually, I went to Philippines.
Mm,
I went to Philippines,
for
and then I
holidays?
had, yeah, for holidays, and I had Vietnam visa,
Mm,
but I did not go. I did not go to the
okay,
Vietnam
Vietnam. Okay.
because yeah, for because it was very close to. the US application. And also I had a lot of work to do, so I
Mm.
did not go.
So how was
And
your
they asked
interview
me,
like?
yeah, the interview, actually the first one, I think he just went straight to the
No,
point.
like I mean
Well,
the F1, the F1 visa, not the B1. The B1
yes,
visa.
yes, the F1 visa. He actually went straight to the point, and then he was like, "You're going to Indiana State University, right?" And I said, "Yeah." And then he said, "What are you going to do?" So I started talking about my program and how the program is going to benefit me as a technical support
Mm.
engineer. And I told him, like, I from my conversation and every narration, he knew that yes, of course, I'm a technical support engineer, because I use a lot of technical terms, like,
Mm.
not to confuse him, but also to at least
So that you know.
elaborate my,
Yeah.
yeah, that I know. And then he was like, "Why computer science? Because you already did computer science in
So you
China."
were going for another master's degree, right, in computer
Correct,
science?
correct, correct. So he asked me, and then I told him honestly, uh, relating to my first masters had helped me. It gave me the basis, the fundamental, like the foundation of my job, Microsoft. And whilst working with Microsoft, I there are a lot of things that I noticed, which
Yeah.
is mostly the cases that come is all about programming and scripting, and you had to. There are some you cannot even tackle. You have to send to the backend team.
Mm.
So if and as part of the programs that I'm going to do in the states, I'm going to do programming fundamentals, data science analytics, and data science programming for data science. So
Mm.
getting this knowledge is
Sounds
they are going to
attractive.
help me.
Mm.
Yeah, they are going to help me to resolve those cases rather than pushing them to the backend team. And
Mm.
also it also helped me with my team, because most of the cases that comes, we escalate to the backend team. It's
Mm.
like you cannot resolve, and it
Yeah.
affects the team's the
Efforts.
KPI.
Mm.
So he was like, "Oh, okay. So why don't you just, after your program in the States, why don't you stay in China? Why don't you come back to your company in China?" And
Yeah.
honestly, there I told him that no, my uncle is helping me with the education,
Yeah.
so I
You have to go back
wouldn't
and work
want
for him.
to. Yeah, I have to go back to his company, and then he also does this small tech thing. I have to be there to assist,
Yeah.
and then he has a special role, which I feel like now no one is capable of taking that role except me, which is a professional
Mm.
technical advisor. So after my studies, I will be able to take up that role and then help him in his
Mm.
company. And I feel like it's a fair trade,
Yeah.
because he has helped me, and then
That's
I'm
yeah.
also going to help him, which will make him happy. Then I think one of the questions that the biggest question was, "So you've been failed? I've seen that." He was like, "I've seen that you've been denied
Denied. Yeah. B1 visas.
twice entry. So what's
What
your
has
hope?
changed?
Like,
Oh.
why do you think you're going to
Yeah.
get this one?" And there, I had to be honest. There, I told him honestly, I cannot tell him a specific reason why I was being denied. However, during my first application, I had less funding, because I had just started working with my company. And
Mm.
unlike now, I've worked for more than 2 years, which I have a lot of funding for myself, aside my uncle sponsoring the tuition. And the second, after my second application, I had to travel to Philippines, just for some traveling experience, and also to make it clear that my motive for applying for B1, B2 wasn't specifically to go to the United States, but to have vacation after some 10 days of vacation from work.
Wow.
And he was like, okay, so what makes you think that you are ready now? And I said, yeah, now aside sponsoring, like with myself, supporting myself with the funds that I have for myself, my uncle is supporting that tuition. And then I think that with my experience firstly as an international student in China, and then being going to be an international student in the States there wouldn't be any too much different. I think for my interview, it took a bit longer. I
Mm,
saw some people behind me where they had to even switch and go to other places to be interviewed
yeah.
because I don't know, but
Because you were
it
denied
was
before, that's why. When you've been denied before, sometimes yeah, it takes a bit longer.
yeah,
Yeah, but you
yeah.
had
It
solid
took
answers, like, and they make a lot of sense. And the visa officer clearly saw the honesty in your answers, and
yeah,
so then it was easy
yeah,
for. Yeah, and you actually sent me your transcripts after you were approved. That was in August or so, right? I
yeah,
I
yeah. I
still
think
have it, but I haven't even looked at it. Like it's there. It's just it's not easy. I don't have time at all. But
yeah,
it's
yeah.
something
There's
I have
no
to
time.
look into. And yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
that was nice. Congratulations. Yeah.
yeah.
So you were
Thanks,
happy,
thanks.
and then you felt like everything
Sure.
was going to change. You got to the US. Who picked you from the airport?
Actually, I had a friend in St. Louis.
Okay.
So St. Louis, and he was the one who picked me from the airport, and
Mm,
then he took me home for some time, and then brought me to Indiana.
mm.
Yeah,
And then what
he's the
about your
one.
accommodation? I always want to ask some of these questions so that people will learn from some of these experiences.
Yes.
How did you take
So
care of
with
your
the
accommodation?
accommodation, yeah, it's very important. I
Yeah.
think I think people should take notes. It's either you find accommodation before you come,
Mm,
or you find a friend, someone who is already in the school
yeah.
to help you with the accommodation. Because mine it was a bit of a struggle. Like I had to.
Master,
It
you
wasn't.
struggle though.
Yeah, he wasn't my friend. Like he had experience, so he was like, "Okay, let's go." And then we had to call someone here, and then the person had to take us to one room, and we had to, even with the accommodation there was a lot of issues, so I had to even move from there to a different accommodation where I am now. So yeah, that's it. And my lease too, I had to pay like sign the lease and then pay the
So
month's
yeah, so in the
rent. That's
US, before you sign the lease, you have to pay 1 year or 1 month, 1 month's
deposit.
lease, which is more like 1 month's rent, which is more like the security deposit, and then you still have to
Yes,
pay the 1 month's rent. So it's like you pay two amounts,
twice.
right, to start.
Yeah,
Yeah. So you did all
yeah,
of that.
yeah. I did all
Then
of
at some point your funds were running out because when you come you have
yes,
to spend money on so many things.
yeah,
And before you came, the school made you aware that there are funding opportunities within the school and the department and all of
yeah,
that, right? So you were
yeah.
hoping that when you come, you get at least something.
Exactly,
And then what
exactly,
happened?
exactly. So with I went to the office, talked about the scholarship
What do you
thing,
buy office? Which office?
the international office,
Okay.
the school's international office,
What about your department?
and
Why didn't you start from there?
so for honestly, when I came, before I got to the States, I didn't even know who my advisor was.
Okay.
So I had never had any contact with my advisor.
Mm,
And the only person that I was communicating with was the head of the international office,
okay.
the
Yeah.
international was the DSO.
Mm,
So she was the one guiding me through and everything. And so I felt like, okay, let me just go to the office and then their office and then try
mm,
to put things that find whichever information will benefit me.
mm.
So talking about the scholarship, they said no, gave me a lot of excuses. But then there's one man, uh, I forgot his name. He said Hussein or something. Yeah, Hussein. And then he was the one who gave me options. And then he was like, I can still check the portal and then apply for the scholarship if there is any, because normally they put it at the specific portal.
Mm.
So I went there. The scholarships there, actually, you when you apply, you will not get it. It's like most of them are for domestic students, not international
International
students.
student.
So I wasn't. So meaning, looking at this side, it's like the scholarship thing is almost wearing off. It's like you are not
Yeah,
part of
likely to get a
those.
scholarship.
Yeah, you are not likely to get it.
Charlie.
So you just have to focus on something else. Then I started fighting for the
Yeah.
GA. The GA two was it
Even GA in
was
your department.
I started from my department, even applied to biology department and everything. Like I applied a lot of GAs, a lot, and none, none of them, not
Did you
even
get
one.
what reply did you get from them? What were they telling you?
The reply was the same. It's like, sorry, we after considering your application, we decided to pursue other students, like something like
Mm.
that. That's the only response that I got. But when I applied in whilst I was in China, one I don't know whether he's a lecturer or he contacted me, and then he was like, he gave me the hope that okay, you there's this position is like, uh, we are still interviewing people, but then we will consider those who
The
are on
country.
campus,
Yeah.
yeah, first before we consider those who are outside the country.
Yeah.
So I was like, so putting
Yeah.
all these together, that was what pushed me to
To
come.
come. Mm.
And I came, and it was
It
a
was
whole lot of
different.
stuff.
Yeah.
It was very different.
Yeah.
So I had to
So
find
you were
other means.
struggling financially and academically, right? The
Yes,
academics, was
yes.
it hard, like compared to what you did in China? Is it really hard to study in the US?
I think they were okay in China. What I was struggling with was communication from the beginning, because
Mm.
most of my lecturers were not fluent in English, even though my program was English taught. So that was one. But for trust me, for the Chinese educational system, is easy to go through. It's like
Very easy.
the yeah, very easy to go through. It's like the teachers don't stress you that much, except for some specific
Mm.
programs. Yeah, for that, like the medicine and the biology, those programs, they take it very seriously. Those
So in
ones,
the
yeah.
US, how about assignments? Were you doing a lot of assignments?
A lot, a
What
lot of
people don't know,
assignments.
people back home, they don't know some of these things. When you tell them, they don't believe you.
Lot,
Yeah.
a lot of assignments. Even till the time we wrote our final paper, I was still doing assignments. A lot,
Wow.
a lot,
Uh,
a lot. But anyway,
yeah, so you were struggling financially and academically, you were, pushing and all of that. You became desperate. You needed a way out because you knew without the GA, because at some point your uncle had some issues or something and couldn't
yeah,
send money to you. So you were struggling.
yeah,
And
yeah,
in your desperation, you decided to send an email to the international office. You copied the
correct.
president of the school and the registrar. Is that what happened?
Yes, yes,
And what
yes.
happened?
So,
So yeah,
well, I mean, this was just a letter, right?
yeah.
And it
What did you
was
say in
just
the letter?
what I said in the letter was it was just something mutual. Like, as an international student, uh, there are things that I had to. I think I had a copy of the letter. That like, I am very new to the system in the United States, and as an international student, I am very like I needed a bit of push,
Yeah.
even though the funds from my uncle is for tuition, and the little that I have also to support myself. But then it's still,
You still
you
need
still
some
struggle.
help. Yeah.
Yeah, you still need some help.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, a lot of
I
people
mean,
need to know.
I have GA, but still, it's not easy for me. You know,
Yeah,
that's the reality.
even if you have GA, you still pay parts
Yeah.
of your
Yeah.
tuition.
So
People
I
don't know.
understand you. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wrote this letter, just a mutual
Yeah.
letter, just to address some
Yeah. Some
instances,
help. Yeah.
little, yes, little help. And I even discussed with my advisor, because when I came to the school, whilst all this drama was beginning, I contacted him, and then he advised that yes, if they are not giving you a GA, then
Yeah.
in your letter states that you need at least a semester fee waiver.
Mm.
So after I wrote the letter, I showed it to him. He said it was
Wow.
okay. So yeah, he said it's okay. He even made some corrections some places, and then he was like, it's okay. And then I showed it to another
Person.
respectable man. But
Mm.
yeah, he's a very good. He's a pastor, and then he's the one also who said, yeah, he thinks this is
Wow.
okay.
It means you did the right things actually.
Yes. So it was actually, honestly, if I'm to pull the letter here, you will see
Yeah.
that
I mean, don't worry about it. Let's. Yeah. Let's.
yeah, it was a mutual, like
Yeah.
it
Like
had no
I'm listening.
fatal
Yeah.
words. Yeah, it wasn't. It didn't have any fatal words, like anything aggressive.
Yeah.
But somehow, I don't know.
Things didn't go
Maybe,
well. You were invited
yeah, it
to
didn't go well.
the office.
I was invited to the office.
Wow.
That there's a meeting, and I was the only person, the only student in the meeting. And I was like, they were like, no, it was just with the DSO, sorry. So she was like, you wrote some letter and you have some concerns. And I said, yes. And she said, do you know that you are not supposed to do that? That was the first question. Do you know that you're not supposed to do that? So I was a bit confused how she took the the
Yeah.
context of it. So she was like, uh, do you think you cannot pay the tuition? And I told her that I'm not the one to pay the tuition. My uncle is supposed to pay. But however, he has made it clear to me that he's going to take his time to pay the tuition because he needs some time, because the his company is having some issues. That doesn't mean he will not pay.
Yeah.
So I should just give him some time. And honestly, you cannot give him pressure.
Yeah. Of
He's the
course.
one,
Yeah.
yeah. He has agreed to pay. So I just needed something to support myself, not the
Yeah.
tuition. I wasn't even thinking about the tuition. Just myself with rent, uh, bills, light,
Yeah.
electricity, and all those things
Yeah.
to feed myself. That was what I was thinking of. So something small to. So she took it. She took
Yeah.
it some.
Yeah.
She took it in a very different way, and she was like, "If you know, we've seen this story before. We've seen these kind of students before. We've heard these kind of stories before, and this is what you all say. So if you think you cannot pay, then we have to call immigration and then terminate your
I-20.
your I-20 because you cannot pay." And I was like, no, this is too harsh. I've not told you that I cannot pay. And moreover, I I told you that this It's not just, this is not for tuition. It's for my upkeep. Then she was like, we understand, but the school cannot. This is what she said. The school cannot give you a tuition waiver if you cannot uh, support yourself, because if this happens, it means I have deceived immigration or something to just to get a visa. And in fact, that time I became very angry. But there's nothing you can do. So I
Yeah,
just took it. I just brushed it off. Took it like it's just one of those things.
yeah.
So uh,
But did you try Empower?
so
Just to get some support.
this school is not on Empower, and it's not on Prodigy. The
Okay.
loan list that this school is on is Ascent and all those domestic loan ventures.
Mm.
They don't support international students.
Wow.
If they will support international students, it's like they will need a co-signer who should be a citizen
Wow.
to sign for you. Yeah. So, long story short, that is when uh, someone decided, okay, I had already discussed this with her long time ago, and then she was like, oh, she even paid
Okay.
without telling me.
Paid
So I
what?
was just my school fees.
Oh, okay. But why did
That
you?
was
So why did you pay? Why the semester had not ended? So why were you in a rush to pay your school
yeah.
fees?
So yeah, that's a good question. So honestly, when what she did, what the DSO did, I had I saw that no, with this kind of attitude as
So you got
someone to
scared.
defend.
Actually, you got scared,
Yes,
and
I got scared.
you wanted a way out, right?
Yes, I wanted to leave because if you as a leader, not a leader of the school, you are defending international students. You are supposed to be there for international students. Now, if I bring my issue to you and you can make it look
But
like,
how about, based on what you are saying, right? I'm not trying to defend, the international student representative, but I'm thinking maybe one is because of the fact that it had happened before, based on what you said. So it's like it's not really about you, but
yeah,
maybe something that has happened before. And
yeah,
secondly, uh, maybe because the email that you sent, you copied the
mm,
president and the registrar, so that made her feel bad. What about maybe? So maybe that's why.
yes,
Oh,
like she's not doing her job or something.
yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So
maybe she did
actually, I
not.
didn't take it in a bad.
In a bad way.
Actually,
Yeah,
in a bad way. I didn't
yeah,
take it in a bad way. But then I felt like
yeah. You
uh,
needed you needed
I'm
you needed some help
yeah,
elsewhere, right? So you decided to try elsewhere for some support, right?
yes. Because honestly, if I'm able to sort this semester, you are
Yeah,
staying here for 2 years.
that's a long
You're
time.
staying here for 2 years.
Yeah,
That's a long time.
yeah.
And imagine you've just struggled to. What
Get
if
a
your
sponsor.
uncle say this again in
Yeah,
the next year, and then you don't get it sorted?
yeah.
It's going to be another issue. And I honestly, if you were a student and you have issues like this, it's worries you with
You
academics and
cannot
all
even
that.
sleep, man. Cannot even
So
sleep.
you don't have to invite all these kind of unnecessary pressure to your
Yeah.
studies. So I just needed to leave, find
So you started looking
uh
for schools, right?
yes, I
When you were
started
coming to the
looking.
US, your friend applied for you. This time,
Yes,
did you apply yourself?
yeah. This time I applied everything myself.
And how many schools
This
did you apply to?
this time I applied like 4 schools. I got three admissions, and actually one was giving me just GA. The other was giving me scholarship, but it was like 20% scholarship.
That's not good. Yeah.
The other one, the one I chose to go, sorry, that one too was giving me like more than 70% scholarship. So it's like you are not paying too much. And school fee itself, it's not a lot. So it's like you're not paying a lot. You're not paying too much.
Wow.
Even though they are not giving you GA, what you're supposed to pay is like less,
Mm,
not much, like 3,000. So I decided, okay, let me just use this school because I'm not going to suffer to pay
yeah.
to
And how did
pay
you
my.
come across these schools?
Yes, this the one that I'm going now. It was through a conversation with one friend in China, and he was like,
Mm,
"Oh, his friends in the states. They told him about one school, so he's going to introduce me to that school, and then let me also try and see if how best it's going to be." So that was how I tried to. I said, okay, let me just try this school,
mm.
and I applied. I didn't even tell him. I just applied, and immediately I applied. The admission officer, she knew the situation that I was like. I explained everything to her,
Wow.
so she knew the situation, and she was like, "This is what you have to do in order to save your situation. If you sit down idle till the end of the semester, you might go out of status. So which you don't want to. I didn't even know all these,
So
which you don't want.
what was that about?
Yeah, so she was able to speed my application. Normally the application when you apply, they even had to let me do evaluation, which
Transcript
they
evaluation.
yeah, the transcript evaluation through the school and through educational perspective. Sorry, through Spantran.
Okay, Spantron. Okay.
Yeah, Spantran. And then it took me with Spantran. I first started with evaluation perspective. Sorry,
Educational
and then
perspectives. Okay.
yeah, and it took for educational perspective. It took me like 2 months because they wanted to verify my documents. But with
Document
Spantran,
from
I think
China, right?
yes, the document from China. But with
Spantron.
Spantran, I had to pay extra to do another evaluation with.
Expedite it. Okay.
Yeah, and then that was when Spantran. It took me like 5 working days,
Mm.
and then they helped to do it. So even though it costed like I had to pay extra things, but it's for good. It's helped me, and then I
Yeah.
had to. It made me
So the
good.
whole thing was that you needed to get admission before your current semester ended, right? That was what she was trying to tell
Yes,
you.
yes. I need to
Mm.
get the admission. I need to, after
Transfer the
getting the
service
admission,
records.
transfer the service records and all that
Was it
before the semester.
complicated to transfer all those stuff?
So it wasn't complicated because with this school, all that they wanted to confirm is if whether I owe them or not. So if you owe the school,
You have to
definitely
get
they are
rid of
not
it.
going to.
Yeah.
But if you don't owe the school, it's
You can
just
easily
you
transfer,
just
yeah.
yeah, you can easily transfer
But
from
you
the
were owing
school.
the school at the time, right? So how did you
Yeah,
pay
I
that
was.
the fees?
So yeah, that's when this good sister
Oh, your
came in,
friend.
and yeah, my friend.
Ah, okay.
And, uh,
Wow.
till now, I think it's my uncle who is going to sort her out.
So okay. Mm,
Yeah.
mm.
So he actually helped to pay this money,
Wow. Wow.
and
That's a big money.
yeah, it's a big money, honestly,
Mm, wow.
a lot, and that's the thing that,
Mm,
and I had to pay
wow.
to her, and
So
that's
then
that's
the
that's
transfer, what did they finish before the end of the semester, or they are
yes.
still in the process?
No, I'm done. I'm done with the transfer. I've booked my flight and everything
Ah,
where I have
wow.
to leave. So yeah, but everything is successful. Like
You feel good about yourself.
yeah, now I'm smiling, right? And like now I'm
But
happy
you've
now.
been through hell, right?
Before it has been a struggle. It has been
uh,
a struggle. It
and
has been a
your
struggle.
new school, apart from the over 70% uh, reduction in the cost of attendance, what else? Is there anything, any special thing about
Yeah,
the school?
yeah. The school also not just the fee waiver. They gave me CPT, 11 months CPT.
So what is CPT? Just in anyone watching this, what is CPT about, and
Okay.
how is that important to you?
In simple terms, CPT is like you being permitted to work outside campus. That is whilst you are pursuing your masters, your education, your
Mm,
studies.
curriculum
You'll be
or practical
yeah, yeah,
training, how they call it? Yeah,
yes, curriculum, practical training. Is it training? Yeah,
yeah, training.
but you should find a job that
Aligns with your program.
aligns with your program. That's it.
Okay.
And the school gave me 11 months of CPT, which is almost like a full-time job.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't
But
want it
then,
to be 12 months because if you do 12 months, you cannot get OPT. So that's why
correct,
they want it to be
correct,
11 months. Okay.
yeah, correct, correct.
But
And
with your skills, with your background, I think you should easily get a job. And also where you are going, DC, right? Washington, DC. So
yeah,
then
you
you should
see,
easily get a good job. Wow.
yes, yes,
Everything
yes.
suddenly has
So
changed.
yeah, things
Wow.
are changing. Like it has switched. In
Hmm.
actually, before I thought I was making a bad decision.
With the
Yeah,
new school.
yeah.
Okay.
When everything started, like when I just decided to leave,
Yeah.
not
Were
specifically
you
with the new school.
scared or what?
Yes, yes, I was scared because actually it's not like China that it's easy to find your way. In China, you just have to cancel the visa with the new school and then find a different school and then you apply for. But here,
You cannot
you
cancel. They have to transfer
you
it.
can't cancel
You
it.
know.
You have to transfer,
Yeah.
and that is the deadliest thing. It's like if yes, if you have to cancel the visa, you can just tell the school I'm no longer with you,
Yeah.
and you just go and apply a different one. That is easy. But here,
Yeah, you
the
can't do
school's
that.
name is on your visa.
Yeah.
The school's name is on your visa, and
Yeah.
your service records it shows that you are with the school.
Yeah.
So honestly,
Very complicated.
you yeah, it's very complicated. If you don't take care, the least chance, the least mistake that you do, you are going to be out of status.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's good that you are doing this because people have to be educated on
Yeah.
all of these.
Yeah.
Else you will come, you'll be stranded, you
And
try shady
uh,
moves and then
yeah,
you'll be in
your
trouble.
story is perfect for a lot of people. In many ways, your story has all kinds of layers, all kinds of layers. But,
Yeah.
given how everything has gone for you, will you make the same decision again? I mean, it was hard, but now you've, come out of it and now everything looks rosy in a way. So, do you regret your decision? Do you think you'll make the same decision again?
And honestly, it's a big step. I would never advise you
Anyone
know
to,
some friends call
yeah.
me like they feel like I'm discouraging them, but I hope they will see this video and they
Mm,
will know that I'm
there's a
not actually
reality.
discouraging.
Yeah.
This is reality. Sometimes I can't tell you all of my story,
Yeah.
but if I'm to tell you, you
Yeah.
would think it's a lie. But I'm not the only person going through this. Some
Yeah.
till now they've not been able to pay their
Their
tuition,
school fees. Yeah.
and it's
There are a
going
lot
to
of
be
people who are struggling. So many. They can't tell
yes,
their stories. They
yes,
can't tell their
yes.
stories.
So people back home, people who are planning to move to the state through F1, they are to try to be sure of these things: the scholarship, the GA, the cost of living. at the area that they are being admitted.
Yeah.
Like they should know a lot about the
They
city.
shouldn't just come,
Yeah,
right?
you shouldn't just come.
Yeah.
Don't just come,
Yeah.
because if you come, what if you come and you don't meet any
Yeah.
Ghanaian or anyone
Yeah.
in the school, or you don't meet anyone to help you out in the school, and it's just you are going to
Man,
struggle.
I know somebody like that, and I really feel bad for the person because the person is an undergraduate student. You know, in your case, it's easy for you to transfer and then get an assistantship or something that is very good. But in his case, he doesn't have the SAT, and when you transfer like that and as an undergraduate student, you're not really going to get anything good like that. So it's really difficult for this person. And he doesn't know any Ghanaian where he is. Unlike your case,
Yeah.
how many Ghanaians are in your like former school? Like,
There are quite a lot of them, like
mm,
almost like 25 or almost
just
30.
imagine. Yeah, at least that is helpful, and also not just Ghanaians, the other Africans as well, other African nationals. So, wow. Yeah, the thing is, some of these stories, when somebody hears it, the person is like, oh, but you made it, I can also come and make it. But
Uh,
the person will not be able to understand the extent of your struggles, the challenges that you've been through, those sleepless nights thinking about how you are going to pay your school fees, the when you
yes,
went for the meeting and then you came out, the emotions you felt, the regrets.
yeah,
There were times that you wished you hadn't decided to come. Like, people will not see all of these things. They will not understand. So they are like, "Oh, you made it. Let me also come. Why are you telling me this? Though I don't need it. I don't need advice." Because
yeah,
they don't understand some of these things. So yeah, I mean, it's good you are telling your story so that if you take it, fine. If you don't take it, then I mean, you were warned.
yeah,
That kind of thing. Yeah.
of
And
course,
your story is unique because, like you said, there are a lot of Ghanaians, a lot of Africans who are struggling, and they have not been able to come out of their struggles. You were lucky
yeah,
with the fact that you had accumulated a lot of experience, a lot of background, background experience related to computer science. So then it helps in a way for you to get some
yeah,
opportunities. Somebody doesn't have that, so the person will not be able to get what you got, right? So everybody's
yeah,
story is different. Don't If you don't listen and then you come and just die like that.
yes, yes,
So
yes,
that's the thing. It's
yeah.
not easy. It's not easy.
It's crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I think people should watch other people's
Yeah.
stories, and then they should at least for mine. I'm not saying that you've gotten a visa, so stay home. No, if you want to come, just fight for scholarship. Just get at least get a scholarship or a
Yeah.
GA at least.
Yeah.
Like, don't don't think that I will come. It's I will come to the states, and then it's after all it's United States, and I will
It's
get
not
a
easy.
job. Don't say that.
Yeah.
It's like, for myself, I think for myself, I said this before, like, especially when I got a visa. Uh, I remember Richard, my friend, the one who helped me. He made a statement like, "Bro, why don't you work with a company for extra 6 months, and then
Get
like,
some
let me
more
defer
money.
for extra 6 months, get some money, and then
Mm,
move to the states." And I was like, "Richard, why?" Because the school had given me a deadline to come and that. And he said,
yeah.
"Bro, the money you have is not enough." And I
Yeah.
said, "It's fine. After all, it's the state. I have some family members. I have this." Bro,
Yeah.
three close people who were supposed to sign, just be a co-signer for me to get the loan
They refuse.
to settle my debt, refused. Someone told me emphatically, like told me straightforward, that what if I don't pay the loan and I run away? He's the
Yeah.
one going to be responsible. I
Yeah.
said, what? So if you
Yeah.
can think like this, that
Yeah.
means you will never help someone.
Yeah. That I
So
Yeah, go on.
yeah, so at least people should. should get something.
Yeah.
Get a scholarship, get a GA, something to at least to ease your struggle.
Yeah.
You're going to struggle anyway,
Yeah.
but
But at least, yeah.
it shouldn't be over like being in the room where you can't even feed yourself.
Yeah.
It's then okay. So me, in China, find things buying things were easier. Like in China, when you want to buy things like buy food in China, if you have like $20, I'm not bragging about this, but
Yeah.
those who know the life in China, if you have equivalency of $20 and you are not that party type and all those type, 1 week, 2 weeks you can survive. What else are you buying,
Yeah.
bro? What
But in the
else are you
US,
buying?
massa, you can't too.
Here, everything. That's what bothers me. Like
Yeah.
everything you have to pay
Yeah.
tax.
It's expensive.
Everything. It's
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah. If you want to buy
So
wachi in the US, when I was in Columbus, there is a place that more like African restaurant. At the time,
yeah,
this is 2020, right? 2020. Wachi that you are going to eat, even though there is meat and all of that, for one person, wachi, it was like $19 or so. Just wachi.
see,
Just imagine.
you see,
So it's not easy. It's not easy.
it's not
It's not
easy.
easy.
It's not
Yeah.
easy. It's not easy.
Yeah.
So, my dear brothers and sisters, at least you should get something.
Yeah.
Get something.
Yeah.
If it's not a full scholarship, partial scholarship, and you know
Yeah.
that okay, my school is it has other student jobs or
Yeah.
other things that you can use to sort yourself out. It
Yeah.
has, but don't rely only on student job.
Yeah. You got some student
Don't
jobs,
rely.
right? Did you?
Yeah, I got a student job.
How much were they
I
paying
got a
you?
$10 an hour.
That cannot do anything for you, man. That cannot do anything.
So yeah, so imagine you go sit there for 20 hours a week and then you get 10, you come home with $200, $200 they deduct tax. Bro,
Man, it's so easy.
after tax, you are getting in 2 weeks, you are getting like
I
387.
mean, I mean,
What
I mean,
to do?
I mean, man.
How much are you saving
Yeah.
for your rent? How much are you saving for
Yeah.
other stuff?
Yeah.
So if you don't have a little to help yourself, you're going to struggle.
Yeah.
If you don't have a scholarship, you're going to struggle. If you don't
Yeah.
have GA, honestly, you're
Man.
going to with the
Yeah.
GA, you are still paying school fees.
It's not
This is
easy.
the thing.
It's not easy.
Even with the GA
Yeah.
is supposed to pay for your school
Yeah.
fees part, right?
Yeah.
But after paying, you'll still be left with something to pay.
Yeah. Yeah. Every month,
So
every semester, I pay about $3,000 on
yes,
the school fees, the little school fees, and then the insurance. I pay about $3,000. So just imagine,
yeah.
out of my stipend. It's not easy at all, man. It's not easy.
So honestly,
Yeah.
yeah, I hope people will understand the
Yeah.
situation.
I have been in the
And
US for 8 years plus, and I have seen so many things. I've seen struggles, and all of that. And sometimes when I am talking to students, I'm trying to tell them what I want to take from them. But then they go to other people, other study abroad creators, they will tell them different stories. And so they are in a rush to come in. When I tell them something, they don't want to listen to me because they think I am being harsh and I don't want to tell them, I don't want them to come in. Me that I'm creating videos and always trying to look for ways to make videos better for you guys. How can I
yeah,
not want you to come? You see that kind of, but people don't like the truth. People are not able to tell people the truth because if you say the truth too much, people don't want to be around you because they think you're negative. But no, 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 it's not like that. So
yes,
let me ask you this about you moving to a new place, right? You have a
yeah,
lease. Normally we sign 1 year lease. What about you? What did you do? Because you cannot
yes.
just leave it like
So
that. Yeah.
yes, exactly, exactly. So that one too, I would, how should I say it? Like a miracle or what?
Wow.
Because I went to I was afraid to go to the office anyway. But
Yeah.
then I went there. We call them is the UV. So at the University Village. And
Mm,
honestly, the moment I entered the office, I first discussed with one of our professors here, who is also a pastor, a Ghanaian, and he was like, "Don't worry, just go and talk to them. Whichever feedback you just let me know." So I was like, "Let me just go and try." I went to tell them to talk to them, and then she was like, "I don't know. Maybe fortunately that day it was her good day. She was in
yeah.
a good mood. We were smiling and all that." And I told her about my situation and that I had to transfer to a different school. And she was like, "Oh, don't worry. Just give me the transfer letter and other document, and then I'll just
Mm,
terminate your contract for you." And
wow,
I was like,
that's
"Really?" And she
wow,
said,
that's
"Yeah,
nice.
yeah, don't worry."
Yeah.
And in fact, those who have been here for 2 years, they some even told me I shouldn't waste my time. They was like they were
Wow.
like they were not discouraging me though, but they were telling me based on the experiences, like
Yeah.
people just
They
go
think
on.
people think she's not a good person, right? In a way.
Not her specifically, but the lead system
Ah,
in the
yeah.
states, they don't they don't
They're not
allow
flexible
you
enough
to.
when it comes to stuff
Yeah,
like that.
it's not
Yeah.
that flexible. It's not
Yeah.
that
That's why I
flexible
actually asked
because
you because some places it can be very
yeah,
complicated. Yeah.
yeah, they feel like
Yeah.
if you leave,
Mm,
they are not getting someone
yeah.
to place.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
People
very
are
deep.
people are I believe that, everybody, there is good in everybody, just that sometimes people's experiences and all of that can make them behave differently. But yeah.
Yeah,
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 it is what it is. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And then it was smooth. It was smooth. And then she actually made it very smooth for me.
Mm,
So
that's good.
I was able to cancel, and then till
Mm,
now, I told my lease after December will be cancelled, and I'll no longer be
mm,
permitted to stay here. And they are giving me back my deposit too.
wow. Yeah.
So
They will do
it's
the
like,
inspection before they give it. They will make sure everything
yeah,
is fine before they give you the money.
they will do the inspection, and then after the
Yeah.
inspection, if everything is
Yeah.
fine, they'll
What
send my
about your
money
new
to me.
place? Have you sorted accommodation, like all those stuff?
Yeah,
Because
yeah. So
usually, mm,
there are some people, so they helped me to get the accommodation
oh,
and then
so wow, that okay, cool.
pay.
And
So
somebody will be picking you at the airport, right?
yeah, yeah,
Ah,
someone will be picking
wow.
me at the
Now
airport and
now
then
everything looks smooth for you.
good. So this is how it's supposed to be, right?
Yeah, that's how we
But
imagine it
then
to be, but sometimes, man, it's more
this is how you want
complicated. Yeah,
it to be, but
yeah,
sometimes your imagination it comes after you've experienced
yeah,
some kind of thing, and that's how it is.
yeah.
So yeah.
And between China and the US, what is something that you've observed, which is like a big difference?
Well, with the tax issue, the tax, and then in China, in China, okay, one thing is the transportation system. I always talk about this. In China, trust me, wherever you go, you get uh,
A bus,
either
a train,
the
or a
bus,
bus?
subway, wherever you go in China, except the highly remote areas.
Mm,
Those,
okay.
yeah. But when
In
you
the
go
US,
to
man,
the
if you
US,
don't have a car, master, you're coming to suffer. Hey,
yes, the
especially
first
in
advice,
some places. If you're in the big
yeah,
city, yeah, you can get around with the buses, but if you're outside
yeah,
a big city, it's not easy. Like the big
yes,
cities that I can actually think of, maybe New York, Chicago, LA,
yeah, yeah,
Atlanta. I'm not even sure about Atlanta. Like Columbus, not at all. Like it's not easy. The bus system, if not those three that I can actually remember very well, other places it's very difficult. The bus systems are
yeah,
not really that effective,
yeah,
man.
and that's a big problem here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They know it's a
so
problem, but they don't know how to solve that.
in
Everybody,
China,
everybody. more or less has a car in a way, you know. So if you're an
Yeah.
international student and then you don't have a car like that, master, it's not easy. It's not easy at all, man. And also depend on where you are. Like the big cities, it's also not a good idea to have a car. If you are in, let's say, New
Yes.
York, if you have a car, it's not a good idea because parking alone, you know, and all, so yeah, you just have to know where
Yeah.
you are going and then understand it and know what is required of you, you know, that kind of thing.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. It's
This
it's very important.
yeah. This interview, man, I've really enjoyed it because Charlie,
Uh,
your story is small story, oh. Because 4 months, the things that have happened in your 4 months, man, it's not easy.
yeah.
It's not something that you can even articulate so well because it is a feeling more than something you can you can just talk about. You know, because
Yeah.
what you felt in that moment, like during that period, man. But I want to ask you a few questions quickly. You know, this
Mm.
first one, I want to know yes or no. If someone doesn't have a scholarship, right? And then wants to process the visa, will you tell the person to, if the person, will you tell the person to go for the visa interview or not? The person
No.
doesn't have, let's say, anybody is funding him or her, but the person has like a guarantee from the school, more or less like a guarantee from the school that when you come, we'll give you some assistantship. Will you tell the person to come?
With a guarantee, you should get a letter that affirms that uh, there's a tuition waiver, there is a GA, there's
Yeah,
whatever, the confirmation
yeah,
letter. Either
yeah,
than that,
yeah.
don't do it.
Yeah, I know we talked about this at some point. So that is the reason I asked you this question is because there are a lot of people who think when they come they can get GAs and all of that. And I tell them that if the school doesn't give you if the school has any GA for you, they should give it to you to use the GA to process your visa so that you'll be approved. Not when you come and then you're not. It's not easy. There is no guarantee. Like, so that's why I asked you this question.
No,
And
there's no.
yeah, I know so many things have happened. What will you consider your biggest mistake in the US?
My biggest mistake in the US, okay, the first one will be with the we're not getting everything done before coming here,
Mm,
and with my I think with my living here, like living in the US, I'm blessed actually. I'm blessed to have good people around
yeah,
me. Like people when they get close to me, it's like you don't even tell them your story, but they'll feel like
they
you're a
can see
good
through
person.
you. Mm,
They should they should
yeah,
just help you. But then you shouldn't don't try this at home. It's like don't think that it's like that with everyone. So you will
don't trust people
also
too much. Is that what you mean?
yeah. It's like don't I'm saying that don't think that you also be favored by everyone. Like people will just look at you the same way and then mine it might be coincidental because sometimes when people just see you just don't tell them your story you just don't tell them anything but they feel like oh they want to help you like they feel like oh bro you there's this don't you can't you try this can't you do this it's like they want to do something to help you in your
Mm,
situation even though I don't know whether they've heard that you've been in a situation before or whatever or you're going through something but then one of the biggest thing